Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, our meeting is now being called to order, and we would like everyone to stand and face these wishes in this direction, and stand in your formality and repeat the prayer softly behind the speaker. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful One, who came to us in the person of Master Muhammad, to whom all praise are due forever. We beseech thy help and we ask thy mercy. We believe in thee and we trust in thee. And we worship thee in the best manner, and we are not ungrateful to thee. And we thank thee and we cast off and forsake him who disobeyed thee. O Allah, thee do we serve, and thee do we pray and seek for thy obedience. We flee to thee and we're quick and we hope thy mercy. We fear thy chastisement, for surely thy chastisement will overtake the unbelievers. Amen. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. This time, we're going to turn the further phase of the meeting over to Brother. Meantime, I'd like for everyone to give it attention and listen careful to the questions that have been asked, so everybody can get an understanding how Brother Minister John Muhammad is going to answer these questions for you. Then we all will be able to analyze the question for ourselves, and we can judge for the best to our abilities of it. So this time I'm going to turn the further phase of the meeting over to Brother Simon Shabazz, who is going to bring on our minister.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to all praise due now and forever in the name of his messenger, Honorable Elijah Muhammad. With great pleasure, I have the opportunity to introduce our brother, the messenger's blood brother, his spiritual brother, a soldier who's been soldiering the cause of Islam as taught by Master Farad Muhammad to his messenger, who is his brother. He's been a soldier for 54 years. As you all know, Brother Shakir has been a soldier for 44, so we have approximately 100 years of wisdom sitting amongst us today in this humble house, which all praise due to Allah. Minister John Muhammad has talked to me many times over the phone, and I had the pleasure of meeting him for the first time in the flesh yesterday afternoon at 6 o'clock when we picked him up at the airport. And I've learned a lot and was inspired by him over the phone, not just because he's the messenger's brother, but because he's a soldier who actually stood in the presence of the man who God came in the person of Master W.D. Farad Muhammad. And to me personally, and I speak only for myself, I value that a whole lot. As if a Caucasian said they can stand and talk with George Washington. We can stand and talk with a man and walk with the God. As if back in the days of the so-called Bible, the way it's written, somebody said they can stand, that they can talk with a man that actually walked with Jesus. Or they can talk with a man that walked with Moses and he lives and get first-hand knowledge. And so to me, again, I repeat, I think that's very significant. I look at this as an historical, significant meeting, as humble as it might be. And I told Minister John Muhammad about the brothers and sisters I met in Atlanta during this short period of time, believers in the teachings of his brother, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the messenger, that are not particularly aligned with any particular group, but want to seek further knowledge and understand Islam as taught by his brother, the messenger, in this day and time when there's nothing but mass confusion, which we all can bear witness to. Minister John Muhammad is the youngest brother of the family of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, born in Sandersville, Georgia, down there, Cordele. He is one of the original laborers that labored with Master Farad Muhammad and his brothers during the early 30s and saw many things before many of us was born. And I'm sure his wisdom will be benefit to all of us. And I've explained to him that the believers would like to meet him on a personal basis, and we call together this meeting here in the Atlanta area that he's down here visiting us for this short period of time. So without any further prolongation, I'd like to introduce Brother Minister John Muhammad, of John Muhammad's Temple, number 1 in Detroit, Supreme Minister. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, to whom all praise is due, and came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, whom praise is due forever. Brother and sister, I say again, I thank Allah for giving to us a messenger from our family, your family as well as mine, and taught him the knowledge and understanding of all that we know today. We got it from him. That is, those who was Muslims under his teachings. And plenty of people that are out in the streets speak Islam and deny where they got it from. Because just think, before 1930, go back 29 on back, we didn't know nothing about Islam. At least I didn't. I didn't know nothing about a God named Allah. And I found many people didn't. So I thank you for being so great and honoring me so much to come out this afternoon, to be here with me because I'm here. I think that's a great honor. And I hope that you and me can continue in the work of Islam that was given to us by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. Brother and sister, I see you as my beloved brother and sister, not just in the nation of Islam, but if we travel back a few thousand years, we'll find that we are brothers and sisters in blood. And if we constantly talk it, we'll find that we are the spiritual people that came from our home, Africa, who came down there about 50,000 years ago, following a scientist by the name of Shabazz. And there we lived for many thousands of years before the creation or making of the devils. Therefore, I feel that knowledge that was given to us, we can find ourselves as brother and sister. That was one family that came down to Africa about 50,000 years ago. So today we are one family known as the tribe Shabazz, which means the greater taker of the nations of the earth. So it's a pleasure for me to be here with you today, and I hope to see much more of you. If you don't mind, can I sit down? You know, if we was among a congregation of people someplace, I wouldn't sit down. But since we are family right here, then I sit down with my family people, because we all are one. There's no such thing as we being different. If we was different from each other, then where did the others came from? Where would they be? what part of the earth could we say a people is like us, but we are different? There's no difference between you and me and the rest of the black Asiatic people in the Eastern world. We are Asiatic people, the original black man of Asia, the aboriginal black man of Asia. That is who we are. And I'm sure you have heard my brother, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, many times say such words. He wrote it, he taught it, he spoke it to many thousands of people. If they all was here in this city, you would just about have the city covered with the people that he have spoken to, trying to arise them, trying to awaken them into the knowledge of self. So I think that he did a wonderful job in his lifetime to rise so many black peoples in this wicked world. What I mean, in this wicked nation of people, the white people. I think he done a good job at it, because we was in such a state that many times I heard Master Farad Muhammad say that we was next to the hog. That's our poison the devil had made our minds. Our minds has been so poisoned that we was worse than a rattlesnake, a diamondback. And if he could bite 400 men at one time, he would kill them all instantly from his poison bite. So that's what happened to black men of America from white people. They bit us with a knowledge that we didn't know anything about. So I thank you, brothers and sisters, for your great visiting here tonight. Hope that next time we can see more and more. I am not having so much to say. I would love to hear you say something. I would love to hear what you would like to say or what you would like to ask me. Before I do that, I'm going to show you. You might have seen them and you might have not seen them. I'm going to show you some of the work of Messenger Elijah Muhammad, which that you probably have. It was in Muhammad Speaks paper. And a lot of people never had it. A lot of people didn't know what he was talking about. And they preach it, they talk it, but they never knows what he was talking about. From my hearings among them, this book here, the Journal of Truth, that's number 2 book of Journal of Truth. You might have seen one or you might haven't. That is written by me. That's number 2 book. This is number 1. This is number 1 book, the Journal of Truth. And this one is the Black Man Unite. That's written by me. I have I didn't tag these to know which was which in them. But anyway, I want to show you. The works of Islam is a great, great, big job. But a man must know what he's doing to take up the burdens and walk with Islam taught by Master Farad Muhammad and Messenger Elijah Muhammad. If he doesn't know what he's doing with it, why, he's just like a child playing with a ball or a balloon and it busts. These, they have why they look dark around here is because that I run these off before I came on a copy machine. And it looks kind of bad, like that. You see it? It looks kind of bad, but anyway, you can read what it is. This was my first newsletter, written by me, August the 1st, 1978. I wrote that newsletter. I gave them away to whosoever wanted them. I began with 1,000 of them and I give them all away, excepting what I kept for the record. So I brought these, I run these off on the copy machine. I had to draw them down smaller than what they were. And I brought these along with me to give them to you, so you can see where I started from. This, that's number one. So it's it's a very tedious job, and it's a hard job. The worst job you have ever undertaken is with your people. I heard Master Farad say that time and time again, and the messenger have often repeat the words to me. He said to me, brother, he says, as you know, the man that we seen, shook hand with and called Brother Farad, I said, yes. He says, today we are not dumb at his hints that he gave to us. The man that we shook hand with and called Brother Farad, today we know that he is God Almighty. I say, yes, sir. He constantly told me, as I'm trying to say to you, that Master Farad told him, and I have heard it from the rostrum, spoken by Master Farad, that the worst and hardest job, the hardest job that a man can take up is going to the wilderness of North America, trying to arise a man that's blind, deaf, and dumb. And that is a hard job. To teach a person who have no knowledge of self, nobody else, have never seen nobody but his slave master, and he's been upon obeying the slave master just like the others was in slavery that was a house slave. And you know what a house slave is. He's a person that tell on all of the field slaves, and he gets a buttered biscuit on Sunday morning. That's a house slave. So this one is number 2. The first one, I put the messenger's picture on that one. Second was me. This is number 2 newsletter. You can have them that you want. I don't think that you got very many of these. I give them away. They're in Detroit among people who was my wide open enemy, black people. I have enemy too, and I know some. But I don't look at them. The enemy gonna do what he want to do. I look at the one who appreciate the hearing of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I looks at that, and I wish to get to those people so that I can tell them some of the things that I learned in 54 years. And if I'm wrong by following him in his teaching today, from that I received 54 years, why, I shouldn't have never started from the beginning. And if I don't know what I'm talking about now, forget it. Because I would never know. This one is number 3 newsletter. These 2 here have 1 page to them, 1 sheet. This one have 2. Have 2 sheets of paper, which means 8 pages. There is my picture there with those kindergartens. All of the kindergartens in the city of Detroit at the opening of the University of Islam. And for the Nation of Islam, and for those that was not kindergartens. I made 2 trips to jail for them. This one will tell you right there, right under my picture, that I made 2 trips to jail for these kindergartens. And furthermore, you can take as many as you so desire of them, because I can make thousands or more. That's what I brought them for. Forgive the people who don't know me, don't understand me. I have been a minister in Islam for many years. I was a teacher in the University of Islam. I was secretary in the Nation of Islam under Master Farad and under Messenger Elijah Muhammad. The first big congregation at number 2 Illinois, I was there, stood on the door at a Devil's Church in Chicago. One night, Master Farad Muhammad, he gave a history that we call the 6,000-year history Yaqub's history. I stood on post at the door from 8 o'clock in the evening until 5 the next morning, until that I found out, and did it often, until I found out that I should know that history myself. And by hearing him give it, and hearing the messenger after him, then I got so I could repeat that same history for 6 hours. So we are being a people now in a worse condition than we was when Master Farad came to us in 1930. You may say, well, how is that? How can we be worse now than, look, I know Islam. That's right. That's right, we know it. We have a lot of people that say they know Islam. I'm not saying that you is like that. I'm saying to show you how people have walked into the nation of Islam and walked away from it and say that they know Islam. They didn't know it if they walk away. That's the proof that you can have on any person who says he know Islam and walk away from Islam and go back into the world that Master Farad and Messenger Elijah Muhammad drug them out of, taken them out of, and stood them up before the world as a people with the knowledge of self. Here's another one. You might have this one. This little booklet. Well, it's not a booklet. I made it a booklet by putting others in it. But this book says, you have read it probably in Message to Black Man. And in the Muhammad Speaks, it's called The Black Man. That's what it's called there. That's the messenger's writing himself. I only took it and wrote them off of what he had said and put the picture on there just like it was in the book. And then, on the first pamphlet that he had like that. So I add these. I put that in there to give to you if you don't have it. If you don't have it, I did that for you. That's when this is the messenger on this side, and this is Naim Akbar, Abdul Naim. He's an Arab. You have heard of him, you have read about him in Muhammad Speaks. He was a very intelligent man and worked hard for Messenger Elijah Muhammad, and he left after the messenger's son took over. It was another one was there, Baghdad. He was there also with the messenger. And there was a Dr. Hassan. He was there with the messenger, but he went back to Arabia to get married. I haven't seen him since. And it was plenty more. And there was a principal that he had in the school there in Chicago. His name was Dodd. I can't so hardly call the first name, but it'll come to me probably later on. You might know him. He was the first one that began to teach Arabic language in the school for Messenger Elijah Muhammad on 43rd Street there in Chicago. So this on this side here is where the messenger asked Master Farad who he was, and that's where he told him that he was God. And also up here, Brother Abdul Naeem, he tells about hypocrites cannot alter the divine work that is given to Messenger Elijah Muhammad from Master Farad. He tells about it. So I put this one in here, in the same one. I run these off a couple of days, knowing that I had promised Dr. Shabazz that I would be here on this day. So I thought I would do a little work to give to you. I said, I got to give them something. I got no money, so I got to give something to somebody. So I did this one. And you can show it wherever that you go, all over the world. Wherever you may go, you can show it. This work that I have here with you, this is not all of the work that I have. This is not started. I just brought something to give you. I have it, this room would not even hold it if I would give to you what's up here that was given to me from the two, God and his servant. So this is the messenger meets the press. You might have read it, you might still talk about it. I do hear some talk about it in Detroit. You might have it. So I copied that and from the Muhammad Speaks, and I put it in there, and I had my lieutenant to circle what I want you to read. And that's, you find it on that side. I had him to circle it in red because a lot of people, well, you might ask me the question, then I'll answer it. So, but anyway, it's answered there. So, whatever that you so wish to have, that I have here, would be some more of these, some more of those. This, I run these off. Same time all of this was done, I run these off, and I had been giving these out, but I didn't have no more but ones that was left. That's why I say I run them off. And we had been selling these for 35 cents, and they was $2. But the one that I have with you, you don't have to give me 1 penny for it. I give it to you. This black man's his duty. This is mostly in picture work. Unite and produce something. Unite black man together, pool your money together, and produce like Messenger Elijah Muhammad taught us to do. Although a lot of it we don't have. We don't have a lot of the things that we made the great process in getting with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. A lot of it we don't have. But still, since we don't have it, we have to keep on trucking, as the song says. Keep on trucking, because if a champion fighting fighting a battle, he will never win a fight. He will never be champion. If he stopped fighting when he got knocked down, he would never become champion. If he stopped fighting when somebody talk about him, he would never be the champion. Because some say, oh, you can't fight, man. What you trying to go in the ring against these other champs? You can't win. Yes, he can. He can win if he have it in his mind to win. And that's what we must keep up with. That's why I say in the teachings of what Master Farad and the Messenger give us, we have to keep going with it. We can't put it down. If we put it down, we are like a child that went back into the room and wouldn't obey his parents. That's the way we are. And the thousands and thousands of black people today is in the Christian church and other places in drugs and all of that. And some of our people is so deep into these things that it makes you even want to turn your back on them because of the way that they do. But don't do that. We can't win that way. We have to keep on trying. Keep on trying. Finally, we will win the battle. Because I was taught that this fight is the last one. I know that the Nation of Islam was going to have its fall long before it fell. It was told in 1932 and 33, and Master Farad Muhammad said it time after time on the roster. He told us that the Nation of Islam in the future will fall and the people will be so few that you couldn't hardly meet one in different cities. And that began when the messenger was in prison. That happened at number 1, while we only had about 4 temples. And that was Chicago, Detroit 1, Chicago 2, Milwaukee 3, Washington 4. And after the messenger comes from prison, then came number 5, 6. And she kept on coming, growing up. Now, as we went around the world, then we began to fall. We fell by hypocrites. We fell by lying. We fell by people who wanted to murder the messenger himself. And today, we're trying to go back. Now, how must we get back with it? Shall we look for the messenger to come back? Shall we look for Master Farad to come back, sit down and teach us after we had been taught? We can't look for that. It is up to us today. It is up to us. We know that it is a very hard struggle. But look at America today, one of the greatest and is the richest country on top side of the earth, as we say it. But how did it get? When the hypocrite came over, George Washington and those other ones, he being the first one to make himself president, a gangster in this country. If he would come back here now and see how this country looked, and from the time that he was here, he had killed himself running from the moving vehicles and everything in the street and looking at the people. He had killed himself running from them. So today here we are, a people that was brought here and made slaves of, and our parents, they didn't know what to do because the way that we was made slaves, or Jews, told these people after John Hopkins brought them over, says the only way that you can make him a slave, you have got to kill their parents. Let them produce children. And as fast as the children is born, then kills the parents, and the parents will never be able to teach the child nothing. Then the child is up to you. I can take the baby right there from the mother there, I guess, and take it, and in 15 years from today, he would tell you that this table is a chair, and the chair you're sitting in is a table, if I teach him that way. But that's the way we was taught. Am I making myself clear? So I'm honored to see you here and glad to see you here. This is the first time that I have been back to this city since the messenger spoke here sometime in 58 or 59 once. I came here then to hear him. I was born in Cordele, Georgia. That's about 165 miles from here. So my nephew told me the other month. He lives in Cordele. He never left. I left Cordele in 1923 when my father sent for the family to come to Detroit. I have not been back to Cordele. I wanted to make a trip there while I was this near, but I doubt it. So, but I did see them, but some there I still haven't seen. So I can't make the trips to them and to plenty of places that I want to go to spread the teachings that was given by Master Farad and Messenger Elijah Muhammad, because I have seen so many people teaching Islam, saying they're teaching Islam, but they are not teaching Islam. They are not teaching what Master Farad Muhammad and the Messenger taught. You know what? Here's something that Master Farad said to us many a time. He says, if you want to live in luxury, have something other, take Islam and mess it up. Take Islam and mess it up. So, knowing these things, I said, when he asked me, the messenger asked me, says, what will you do after I am gone? The boss said that. I said, well, I don't know anything else, because in the church, I left the church in my teens, and I don't know nobody else. And I stayed with the nation until Master Farad Muhammad left. The last time I seen Master Farad Muhammad was in Gary, Nana. When I went to meet him in Chicago, him, the messenger, and my brother, Kalat, who was captain at that time, went to meet Master Farad in Chicago. That's the last time I saw him, and he came back as far as Gary, Nana, and I haven't seen him since. The facts, brother, Master Farad didn't talk about himself too much to other people. His talking mostly was to the messenger. So the people who speak about what Master Farad Muhammad said should be a person that have heard what he said or heard what the messenger said and use those words, because Master Farad didn't He didn't tell nobody that he was going to come here and pile a ship full of people and take them back to Asia. He didn't tell us that. He told us we could go ourselves, and we can. I was going to go to Africa a couple of years ago. I'd never been in the East. I go by what those went there and seen and heard and come back and told me. I'd never been, but I had the chance to go a free trip to Libya. Gaddafi was going to give me a free trip to Libya, but I couldn't go. And the reason, well, I was glad that I didn't. Now, it was about as many people was going as it is in here. But there was not a seat for me when I got my news. And nobody wanted to give up a seat. And I was glad I didn't go because they had to stay a week longer. They missed their flight. And they had to stay a week longer before they could get their flight back to America, back to wherever they was going to change to. And then on top of that, I took with a cold, and I didn't want to. I wanted to be I wanted to be sound if I go that far. And so I was glad that I didn't go. But I had geared up all harnesses to go. But no.
Excuse me, Brother Minister, I want to address the floor for a minute. When you address the minister, please use the greetings to him before you answer the question, please. That's what I want to do. So I'm like,
thank you, sir. Wa alaikum salam. Well, I thank you for that as an honor. I don't look for honor. I meet that all the time. So I don't look for a person to, just a minute, brother. I don't look for a person to come and say, yeah. I'm not going against you. That is the way of Islam, what you say. That is true. But I don't look for a person coming, put me up high. No. I was put up high when Master Farad Muhammad came. Just like you, he put us all on an equal base. We all was dumb, had no sense, and he taught us some sense. And those that didn't learn, shame on him. That's right. Let us just be good and treat each other right. I didn't get the last word. Anyway, you was talking all the way too low. How did he came into the...
Because I have heard when Muhammad stated that he stayed with a family on the West Coast. The Savior did.
Oh, he had been here before.
Yes, sir.
Before making himself known.
East Coast of the West Coast became.
He didn't say to me.
Because then when you mentioned that there was something in one of our lessons, English lesson C number 1, where it said we could not swim 9,000 miles. And I wonder was that going from the East Coast back to what we came from on the West Coast?
That I never heard him say. When he said that we could not swim 9,000 miles, when he said that he came 9,000 miles on water, and we couldn't swim the 9,000 miles. But now, because it's 10,000 miles altogether, but he always used the word when he was teaching that he came 9,000 miles. Now what side he come up on, whether it be east or west, I never heard him say. I never heard him say.
You brought the point out,
Yes, sir. Thank you. This brother was first here. Right here.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum salam.
Hey, Brother Bobby Tunde, Abdullah. You had mentioned earlier about why the groups can't come together, talking about major ones, why believers, we have separation, I guess, as we have now. One day, I'm speaking for myself. I cannot follow any group or work with any group of so-called Muslims or Muslims that do not submit to Master Muhammad and his message. And a lot of the major groups, even though they might use the name of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they're not teaching the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They're teaching their own teachings and making themselves gods. And I think that's why a lot of people here are not particular with any, per se, group that is known like that.
Yes, sir. Was that a comment or a question? Did you have a question? That would sound like a comment to me. Just a statement. Okay, thank you. Well, yes, sir. Walaikum salam. Speak a little louder.
I'm here to represent, my name is Kareem Allah.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
here to represent the Master Father Muhammad Allah Muslims. And I have two questions, sir, I'd like to ask you.
Yes,
One
sir.
of them is, how old are you?
How old am I?
Yes, sir. The other question is, what date and what month did the Savior start teaching the blessed Elijah Muhammad?
What date and month? The messenger, well, he never told me what date and what month that he started teaching him. But he told me that it was in 31 when he actually was chosen. Because up until that time, there was another man that was representing Master Farad. His name was Abdul Muhammad. And he was there until 31. Now what the messenger said, it was cold. But he never gave me the direct time. At least I don't remember it. He never gave me the direct time of just when that he actually started. But I know it was in 31 because he said that. Now how old I am? Wait till all the ladies leave and I'll tell you. How old do you think I am? I'm young and ugly. Come on. 80. 80. No sir, I ain't 80. No sir. Do I look like I'm 80? No. Well, I'm not. I'm not 80. That's something, brother, I don't hardly mention. For one thing, I never think about my age unless somebody asks me how old I am. And I never had a birthday party. And my wife used to, when I come home from work, she'd have a little something other there, and they'd have little things around there for me, such as a tie, a pen, or, just something, little small gift for me on my birthday. And she asked me, she said, "Don't you know what day this is?" Well, I begin to look, when I see the little presents sitting around, and I say, "Oh, this is my birthday." Master Farad taught us about that. If you never think on your age when you is trying to live a long time, you will live a long time, and you will never have that on your mind about, I'm so old and so old, I'll soon be dead. Because we don't know the day of birth and we don't know the day of death. We had to be told the day of birth because we don't know that day. And if anybody tell you the day of death, it'll worry you to death. I don't hear you.
With the help of Allah, Savior, Master Muhammad, that in regard to where you were born, I was able to help Allah blessed, which by the two of us live to sit up and myself. Allah Muhammad speaks in that particular city for the job. And I also met a few people that were familiar with your family.
Yes.
They were outright stated, and also the making God, people say, I knew this particular man, I guess about the message, that he had stated. I can recall one lady, and I can remember the fits, every time.
Yes, sir. I got relatives here in this city. I got relatives still in Georgia. I don't know if any still in Sandersville or not. I don't know that. See, it's been so long since I was there. It's been 63 years since I was at my home in Cordele. Thank you. Here in the back. My legs left.
If you express concern and unity of all the Muslims who identify with the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which he has taught us for over 40 years, coming from Allah Master Muhammad, what do you see as the way that this could be accomplished? Maybe I can state what I see. I think it's basically the same thing that you have in my house. That what we were taught by the messenger in the way of FY class, the sisters have the MPT class, the flag of Islam teaching all of the literature. It's just the basis that you also see us come together once again in unity. I mean, I consider that other than on those precise teachings. And being successful.
Yeah. Well, it can be done.
Yes, sir.
The way that I would suggest, that's what you're asking me?
Yes, sir.
I would suggest that all of the Muslims who believe in the teaching of Messenger Elijah Muhammad and is following different leaders get on that leader. The leader is responsible. Get on him and tell him, says, why is it that we can't all unite together? This man say he's a Muslim over there and they Muslims over here, and yet we is here with you and we are not with neither group. And we all are black and all Muslim. What's wrong, Minister so-and-so and so, or whatever he might be? Why we can't unite together and have one leader? Ask him that. Don't be afraid, he can't do a thing in the world to you. You can whoop him. Yes, sir. Ask him. I ask all of them. You read this book here. I ask all of them. And two are personate. I didn't hear. Now those two will never come together. To my belief. I'm not a foreteller or a fortune teller or a foreknower. But to my belief, I don't believe them two will ever come together on each let one be the leader and he follow. They won't do it. Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Minister. I would like to make this comment. It's the way I've been seeing it for a long time. There never was a body of people could come together before the leaders come together. The body can always be divided, and the heads who lead these brothers come together. When they come together, that's going to bring the whole body together. They can't come together. How could the followers come together? No way.
Yeah.
As you were saying, if leaders refuse to come together and leave the leaders by themselves, or let the people come with the message teaching, and then they'll just be out the door.
I can't hear you so well.
I'm saying that the only thing I can see other than waiting on the leaders to come together is just the same way it was when the Orthodox Republic took us all the Christian churches, left the Christian preaching and whatever they were teaching in the church. And we came on into the nation and built the nation. So if these leaders professing to follow the teaching of message, if they refuse to come together in unity under what the Honorable Muhammad teaches us, then leave the leaders by themselves, and once again come on to the teachings of the Honorable Muhammad and brotherhood and sisterhood, and follow those principles and practices, and leave those leaders alone. That's the only other alternative that I see.
That's what you have to get after your leaders about. If he say that he is a Muslim and teaching the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teaching, then ask Farrakhan, Silas, and WD, and the others, regardless of who he might be, and they are not together. Their people, ask their leader, what is the matter with us? We cannot unite. You is the leader, so are we asking you, how come we all can't be one Muslim like we was, and the messenger was our leader? So now he's passed, and look at all of these others that has jumped up now. And plenty of them was not even a minister or nothing in the Nation of Islam. And that I know. I know them, and I know every minister that was a minister under Messenger Elijah Muhammad. I know every laborer that he had. I checked them by his permission. Yes, sir. So ask that leader. Ask him, what's wrong, brother? We following you. Come on, let's get together. Say, see what the messenger said? Show him one of these books here. See what the messenger says? Oh, make a solid stone wall. You can't make a solid stone wall if you got a brick out here and a brick out over there, and you're going to put chewing gum to stick this brick and put tape on this one and put cement on the other one. That's not a solid stone wall.
I think this is the main part of the comment. Some, as we notice, do have different portions of the business.
I can't hear you.
Some of these brothers do have different portions of the business.
Move down the front just like Millen Wrong Island.
Once again, I said some of the brothers do have portions of what the Honorable Muhammad taught, but they don't have it all. So I'm saying maybe that's one factor that's involved in people not being able to see clearly as to what has to be done. But from my understanding, that we have to, based on what we came into the nation with, if we don't have all that in order, we still won't be successful like we were under the Honorable Muhammad, which means, the proper way in which the MGT held their class instructions, the proper way for the FY class instruction, study of every lesson from student enrollment on down to the problem lesson. Because I believe when all the leaders get these lessons, then they'll be equipped to deal with those leaders. But right now, maybe some of these leaders are holding their lesson back, or interpret them in a different way or something. Or maybe that's a part of the situation. But I believe one reason we could go to Savior's Day when the message was amongst us, brothers and sisters from California, from New York, all over. It's just like you knew people all night because you were oneness of mind, with the practice of the church. Until that's restored, I don't think we will have unity that we will. And that's how we start by blessing God. That's my last comment. That's my last comment. Thank you.
Brother, uniting together under the crescent. We ain't got but one crescent. We ain't got but one flag. We don't have but one government. So now what's the matter? We got to have a gang of leaders. No, brother, that don't work. And it's not just say now. There's a sister, you're on my mind. Ask your question. Just a minute, I'll come back to you. Ask your question. My name's Salam.
I don't personally think I speak for all sisters, but I speak for quite a few, and I know quite a few. And I believe that the First Nation is in the home, and our homes are other than Muslim homes. Many, most of our homes. And the brother keeps mentioning NGT and the FOI, but until our personal homes are the kind of homes that build nations, it doesn't matter what we do outside of our communities because our homes are together. And if we as Muslim sisters aren't put in position to raise our families, to build a nation, it doesn't matter what all you get together, what all you talk about, what all you brothers sell, what all you brothers do. Because until these homes are together, we don't have a nation. And I'd just like for you to address that. Also, I have another question. I'd like to know, for an example, for a sister to look at, I'd like for you to share with us sisters what Sister Clara Muhammad's life was like, and how did she make it?
Sister Clara Muhammad?
Yes, sir. The messenger's wife.
She followed her husband. She followed her husband wherever that he went. When he come into the Nation of Islam, she come in. That happened with all our family. When my father joined the Nation of Islam, we all followed him. So the home will fall in line if the heads fall in line. That's the leader. Now, but I'm not speaking of the home, because we have already become to be a Muslim. And after we become to be a Muslim, now look at all of these other ones that's disunit, and they say they are Muslims, whether the house is food or whether the house is not food. We wouldn't take up the house there to put with the Nation of Islam and say that is it. I wouldn't take it that way. I say if you believe with the messenger in his teaching, now let us all unite together and be one, like he taught us to be. That's the way that I see it. And the best way that I can see it is that if the leader does not lead you to unite together, well then that's that. But we got to do it if we want to be united together. Messenger says to us, he says that Master Farad did not just come here to teach us ourselves. He come to unite us. Is that clear enough? Ma'am?
I have another perspective. Thank you.
You have another question? Well, that's what I'm saying about the Muslims, not about your home. That's what I'm saying. All of us unite together. the little few that is real here now may have different leaders. Just as Sydney may have different leaders. Why not the leaders pool all of us together and say, listen, we all are Muslims. Let us all be one, like the messenger says. Unity under the crescent is all we need. Unity under the crescent. We are not having unity under the crescent and wearing the crescent, and still we are not with our brothers and sisters. I can't go against you and you say you're a Muslim. I can't say you are not. But if your word is just mere word, and then I don't see you trying to get together, then I don't think you're a Muslim. That's what Master Farad taught. No, a sister back here. Another sister had a question. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum
That's
salam.
all I would like to state. It's a pleasure to be amongst an elder who is brother to the messenger, also in the wisdom that you do have. My question is this. In the divine scheme of things, how does a man get in the picture? Because my observation is there's a lot of things that are happening that people are coming into. And in terms of, there's a lot of things around the country that appears that is driving people here. And I was just wondering if the messenger ever discussed with you the divine scheme and the purpose of Atlanta in the whole scheme of things.
That's what I'm saying. He said in this manner, without the unity with self, then you will be destroyed in that. That's why your destruction will come if you are not in unity with yourself. It's unity that we have to obey and do. We can say most any other thing, but it's unity is the key. Unite and be one people. That is the key. And what if we always united together like we were before the messenger passed? Before he passed, we all was together. As you say that we all went to Savior's Day. Wherever the messenger would call us, we was there. But now, if you stand up in plenty of places and says, I'm teaching what the messengers taught, do you like that? And plenty of them, if you say, well, I follow so-and-so and so, they'll do just like that. No, you ain't right. I'm following so-and-so and so. I'm right and you wrong. And they stand up and argue with each other. I have seen that in Detroit concerning myself. And the men got to cussing each other. Well, after a while, they just stand there, they start fighting each other. But that is not what we are after. We are after one leader, one religion, one flag, one people, and all the people must be black as a black stone wall under the crescent. Other than that, you can't get them. You can take even to the Holy Quran, you can take it and teach it all day long to these black people in America. See how many of them you're going to convert with it? Nope. Because it was not brought to you in the first place. Yes, sir.
I wanted to add one more item to that question. First of all, excuse me for not giving my name. Sakari Wahid Mutadil Allah. Maybe I should make the question more direct. Do you see the Atlanta area as being that stone wall? The reason I ask that, obviously, something has to, physical proximity has a lot to do with unity. And I was just asking, do you see that, or was it related to you by the messenger as Atlanta being, because my understanding is that Detroit was the central spot at the time. That has fallen. Okay. The question is, do you see Atlanta as that new rising under the flag and that situation with the unity? Because there again, there's a lot of situations that seems to be drawing in this direction.
The messenger didn't teach as one state or one city. When he said a solid stone wall under the crescent, he was talking to the whole black nation in America, not just here. No. If that be it, then the other people ain't got a possible chance. But we all got to be it. All the black people in America got to be a solid stone wall. And the best way that we can get to all of the people in America to be that stone wall is that those who have heard the messenger and believe in the messenger unite themselves together and carry out what the messenger has taught us. Then we can go not only to Atlanta, you can go to Michigan, you can go all the way, just say from coast to coast with him, carry nothing but the messenger. Yes, sir.
Shalom Alaikum. I have a question over at the first question, and over the comment behind your answer. Is the Nation of Islam a government?
Yes.
Well, if it's a government, have we established a government where we can keep everybody in order? If we haven't established a government, how to keep everybody in order? Actually, it's a divided nation. And it destroys them by that. You got to have rules, law, regulation, everyone carried out. Men who have these houses have election every so often and put these men down and you let them come back to business again if they hold their job long enough. They're like the president. I think I heard the messenger say this several times, that Islam is set up like any government. The president, the head of the government, made that statement, now you made a comment. It's one president. And if it's Allah is known to us as king, he is with the king. Then all those who are elected office under him, see, he hold that high position. For a length of time, they he's elected, re-elected, have election every year. Once we get a government established, we aren't a problem with leaders. They have to go. They'll be part of it. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Thank you. All government has a religion. All of them. Regardless of what government you go in, it has a religion. Some governments you go into, they're hanging on to Christian religion, just like this one is. Some of them is Muslim, some is Buddha and whatnot in that government. But now, out of the 7 great religions of the world, only one God give credit to, and that's Islam. The religion of Islam is the only one that is recognized by him. And if you don't have Islam, then you go with the rest of them. Yes, sir. Brother
Do
Absalom.
you foresee unity coming out of all of this confusion?
Do I see the end of it?
Do you see unity coming out of all of this confusion?
Yes, sir.
Did the messenger did the Savior of the messenger ever teach what would come about after all of this? Or what tool would be used to bring it to an end?
What would you use to bring it to an end?
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, unite. Unite and you bring all of the confusion to an end.
Yes, sir. But, is there an instrument you could suggest that we use to bring it to an end?
Unite. Unite. Unite together. Look. Why did you come here tonight? Because one man came here, right? And that was me, right? And I came because that I know that you is my brother and sisters. And I am willing to unite with you. And the same with all others, all over the country, all over the world. I am willing to go with you. That's right. Yes, sir.
Mike,
My
in
name's
regard to what you was saying, Minister John, you definitely a lot of saying with Master Father. We who have Master Father, listen, have to bear witness to unity, because our religious structure, Minister Father, was taught by Master Life and given militancy here in Mount Georgia in the early 50s. This is what we practice and we teach. There's a very few of us with the help of Allah to say, do the teaching of Master Life Muhammad, as well as to follow the principles, as well as to restrict the laws. The practice of Islam, we have been successful with the help of Allah. That witness to that.
Right. That's true. You was successful in building a nation. That was a time that I know wasn't a black man in this city speaking Islam. I know that. And not only in this city, let's go to the second city, Chicago. That was a time that there was no Muslims in Chicago following Messenger Elijah Muhammad. He had spent 2 years in Detroit. And Master Farad went to Chicago, and then he was the first spokesman there. That's when I said I stood at the door so long. I was there in Chicago all night long until when I sit down, my hands was even swollen from standing. Your hand will swell, you know, stand too long. And when he finished and come outside, the sun was shining. So I take those words that he left with us, that if we would just come together, you wouldn't have to fire a gun. You don't need a weapon to fight nobody. That's all foolishness, that we have to have a gun or sword to go out and fight somebody. That's all foolishness. Who could you fight? Master Farad said you don't know how to fight. And we don't. According to what's happening now, our people killing each other. And we got to unite together to stop that. We got to unite together to stop drugs. We got to do it because the president is about to okay drugs. And if he okays it, then what is our little children going to do? Go into school and find somebody with drugs. You You couldn't say arrest nobody with drugs unless that you was making it your own self. The same as people bootleg whiskey. They bootleg the whiskey, but if the law catch him bootlegging it, making it himself, he go to jail because he ain't buying it from the government. And the government's selling the same stuff he making. We can stop them. Enough black people together can rule the portion of the black nation in America. Enough of them together. Look, we have never yet used our power. We ain't never did so. We have not had enough black peoples together to say that we're going to rule against the white man, other than the time of Messenger Elijah Muhammad. We never had that. Nobody showed their creative minds. Nobody. We have great men today, millionaire men, who could give to you enough money to start and operate your own government right here in this government, and this man would be glad to see you get out of it. Sure, if we just would unite together. They send hay here for the cows, right? Send hay, some of the farmers, what I'm talking about. They are united. All right, how much do we send to each other? Brother around the corner doesn't be dying just about it for a doctor to come to him. We ain't got no hospitals and nothing that we can say belong to us as a nation of people. We don't even have nothing that we can say as a nation of people. The nation is a government. And all religions have a government. Now, why do they have a religion and a government? That's another question that the messenger told me. The religion helps the government by living according to what is right. If you didn't have a religion here called Christianity, why you wouldn't be you sure would go east or somewhere, you know what I mean, because the people would be killing everybody. They would have the 2 guns on their hips just like the cowboys. Sure, because he got no religion. He got nothing to say that freed my soul, like in the Christian church. We have Islam, the only religion, the only one that God verifies himself. We have that religion today, given to us by Master Farad Muhammad. And the religion that you have, that he brought to us, the Islam, is not at all Islam like the Orthodox. He brought us a new Islam. And what makes it new, the old Islam does not teach white folks as devils, right? The Orthodox, they don't take that. And what makes it new, the old Islam does not teach white folks as devils, right? The Orthodox, they don't take that. Teach that you is the original man, the God of the earth. They don't teach that. But Master Farad give you Islam and tell you, say, you is the gods. You catch what I'm trying to get over to. So now, if you don't take that, then you have nothing. You're not in the new Islam. You're in the old something. See, Muhammad brought that religion to his people. He was an Arab himself. So he had to go to his people the same as Elijah come to his people. So the God that sent Muhammad gave him a book. So now, Messenger Elijah Muhammad took that same book that Allah gave to him, which is the same book, and makes a new people out of that book that Muhammad rises up an old people that he belonged to. Because they were sitting out in the sand beds out there making little totem frog houses, putting the foot in there like we used to pat the sand over our foot and take it out, and there's the house. And then they fall down and wash it out. Right. You are different from them. Although they belong to you in your nation. They are people in your nation. Master Farad didn't allow Arabs in the temple. He didn't allow white people in there. He wanted you. He wanted the gods in there because he was the God. That's to learn Islam and to know it. What you have today, brother, we should be hugging every black man we meet around the corner. Come on, brother. But you can't do it because he got a different faith and says he's a Muslim too. The real Islam given to us. When you read one of these, what the Messenger says there about being black, that you should love it. It's right there. This little book, little pamphlet rather, I'll put the rest of it in there because of him having it. And I thought maybe that rather than try to give you another sheet of paper, I would run it off and give to you it all together. That is, if you don't have it. If you have it, then that's up to you. If you want it, that's up to you. But I'm not going to take them back home. I ain't going to take not one of these back home. Whether nobody here take it or not, somebody can take them and burn them up. See what I mean? When we first went to Chicago, you know what we carried? Lesson number one. Lesson number one. Why isn't the devil settled on the best part of the planet Earth? That was the lesson we carried there. All of the people that we see here, that's a fact that was given by Master Farad Muhammad, known as lead will not reach the bottom of any ocean. The meaning of that fact says lead will not reach the bottom of any ocean any nearer than 4,500 yards. That's it. That's the fact. Now, what is he talking about? Lead spells lead, right? L-E-A-D. That's a leader, right? All right. Well, look at all of these people here, an ocean of people here. And he can't reach the bottom of it. So when he planted Islam into our brains, it's out here now, just floating, like lead floating in the ocean. It's floating in their brain. So if we unite together, all of the temples just start uniting together, you'd be surprised how many thousand other people will unite with you. That's right. Because that's lead. They use it on ships to anchor the ship, to make it stand still. Because it's not hooked on to nothing in the water, but it's so heavy. The knowledge you have is so heavy that it's just out here floating. See sisters and brothers cleaning up, dressing like Muslim people, and they are not Muslim. Haven't joined an organization, brother. But yet, he's against all of the evil doing. And there's plenty of them. And there's plenty of people that speaks up for Messenger Elijah Muhammad's teaching. And they will speak to you and tell you, say, why don't y'all unite yourself together? They'll tell you that. They tell it. I hear it in every city I go in. And I have been from the west, north, south, and the east. They tell you that. Why don't y'all unite together? I have been on a taxi and one was speaking to me about Wallace, not knowing now that that was my nephew. All right? But he was right. What could I say? I just listened at him and was glad when I got out the car because I was tired of hearing him cursing him out. That's right. So, brother, sister, unite yourselves together. Yes, sir. I ask all to do so. I ask all the leaders unite themselves together and have one leader. I ask all of them. I'm not afraid of them. To ask them, I say quickly to them face to face. And if they want me, I will be their chairman. And listen at what they say and then give their decision that none of you is following Messenger Elijah Muhammad. Sure. I can use this. Just this little pamphlet here says black and that you shall love him. Then I can use the Quran says that mere words mean nothing unless carried into practice. Plenty of ways you can throw it on them. Sure. Don't throw it at me. I'm for unity. I'm for uniting. I'm for unity. And I says that every Sunday in Detroit that I talk to my people. Unite, brother and sister. You know what? They are naming a street there that the temple is on in Detroit, which is Linwood. Now it's named, is to take the name of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on one end and Reverend C.L. Franklin on the other end. When the messenger passed before, Franklin did. And they didn't try to name the street after the messenger until one of the men in the council who began to fight it until finally he got it. So it's passed now. The street can be named the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Just so far. Other people's on the other end where Honorable Elijah Muhammad stopped at on the right side, they wants to keep it Linwood. Linwood mean nothing. It wasn't named after nobody. When it was named, it wasn't named after nobody. And on the other end of Joy Road to Grand River, it's C.L. Franklin. He's a preacher that owned the church there. Well, he was very nice to the Muslims to be a preacher. We could go there and say, oh, Muhammad speaks. He wouldn't run them away like other churches would, run the brothers away from in front of the churches. So they asked me to give history of the temple. I stood in the school yard in front of the temple and give the history from the starting of Master Farad and short methods until they got to Linwood. A lot of people out there, they didn't know.
Assalamu alaikum. Who have they building today? The Muhammad's Temple number 1?
Yes.
Who's using it at present?
Where's it at now?
Well, who's using it at present? Who's occupying it? Which, Mr. Farrakhan or Silas or?
WD.
WD.
Yes, sir. He's the leader.
Yes, sir. Have you heard the Savior, the Messenger, say that if we didn't know the lessons that we would not see the hereafter? Would you have ever heard of anything like that?
No. If you didn't know the lessons, you wouldn't see the hereafter?
Yes, sir.
I never heard that. Yes, sir.
I'm going to answer that question in the lesson what it says about that. You cannot enter into the promised land until you have a thorough knowledge of yourself, and that thorough knowledge is in your lesson.
I don't want to fight you, but it's not.
You can't.
It's not. That was Osman Sharif that said to the other 11 members of the conference that they could not return to their original land unless they had a thorough knowledge of their own. He's telling them in these words, we don't want you anyway. So now to come back here, you got to have a thorough knowledge. Now the lesson is not all the thorough knowledge. If it had been the thorough knowledge completely, then the messenger would not have wrote otherwise. So I don't want to fight you, brother.
That's fine. I can
All right. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum salam.
I don't know what issue, but it was stated, I believe it's the messenger's word, that the 12 imams is the real answer. And I was wondering if you could kind of explain it to me.
The 12
Imams is the real answer.
The 12 imams in where?
Is the real answer. I don't really know. Right.
Look like I can't get you. Something that is between me and you. I can't pick it up. Yes, sir. Maybe Dr. Shabazz can say.
We discussed it last night,
Oh, that's what he's talking about.
The supreme wisdom is about 144,000, and the root is 12 times 12, 144. Supreme wisdom. And I showed that to you about the 12 imams. I asked you the question I think the brother's trying to ask you about what stated in the supreme wisdom that the 12 imams is the real answer. If you wanted to comment on
Oh, that's what we was talking about last night concerning the 144,000, wasn't it? That means that he put you on the square using the 12. That's what he did. He put you on the square. 12 times 12 equal 144. So that's a square. And if you cube it, you got 1728 inches, right, for a cubic foot. So he's put you on the square. He used a square man. He used the only man that was born on the square. He used a righteous man, while others was not born there. And the 144,000 is the resurrections, and they will become the ruler in the hereafter. That's what he's talking about. See, if he could write, just like I said, if he could write and break down everything that he put in the book, you would have it. But he didn't do it. That's why I'm here today, BG. I got it. So what? Yes.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
My name is Brother Salam Wahid Allah. My question to you, sir, is this. Is it possible to order some tapes of your lectures in other parts of the country, or do you have a tape list, or would I have to write to somebody and I'd like to purchase, like you said, some brothers for recording it?
I have made a lot of tapes. Everywhere I went and then didn't get none of them. Plenty of them. But at home, they make it every week, but I talk so long until the tapes give out, just like this brother tape give out. So I have videotapes too.
No, sir, I'm ready to go for another 3 hours, sir. I can't compare.
All right. Well, I tell you what you do. You write to this place right here, and it's a brother there. Keep in contact with you, and he will tell you what is what. It's on the back side of that note. Anything you want to write to, if you don't want to write there, write to P.O. Box. Any of you can take it down and write and ask questions. I answer them at P.O. Box 06756, Detroit, Michigan 48206. Right there. A lot of people write me letters there. No? I answer through mail. Don't make no difference if you ask me the truth. I'm going to tell you anyway. Yes, this week. My name's
Sir, in regard to the question my asked that the next to the black man, forward, page 14, the Roman numeral, written by John, by Virgil, last name, in regard to this, he stated that the messages said that the Savior goal was for us to get out of the slave master name, and also I know it's in a lot of books, a lot of teaching, that this message speak about that we cannot seek it out unless we in the name of Allah, as for what you have heard the Savior talk.
Cannot see the hereafter?
Yes, sir.
You won't be given no credit for it if you go up with a slave name. You won't be given any credit with a slave name, no sir. No. Allah won't come back here to name you. He won't come back to name you, although it's written in the book saying that he will give you a name from his mouth, but he already gave you a name from his mouth when he named you the Nation of Islam. So go in the Nation of Islam. Get out of the devil's civilization into the Nation of Islam. That's the name that he gives to the whole 17 million at that time, the Nation of Islam. And then he'd give people personal name, about 25,000 in Detroit before he left. Now, if he does that, we expect for him to come back and stand up and teach us like he did then? No. You can get your name yourself. If you're using the X now, you put Muhammad or Ali on that other part of the name and go ahead on. Yes, sir. My name's around.
Do you have any movies of Honorable Elijah Muhammad? I'm in the process myself of collecting lectures. I have quite a few lectures that I would like to get some movies and videotapes. Do you have anything like that?
No, they got about one there, a movie. They got about one, and they wouldn't get rid of that one, not for me. That's the only one that they have there.
Which one is that?
That's when he met this, wasn't Tony, a big pipe? I think so. I think that was the one. You got that one? Where he was, what was he saying in there? You tell me.
Is that the one where he was with Earl Cutson up in Chicago, being interviewed by him in his home?
Right.
Yes, sir. He was just telling about the
That's the one. Right. We got that. That's the only one we got. We didn't.
I also have Savior's Day, the last Savior's Day.
You have that?
Yes, sir.
His last sermon.
Yes,
sir. You have any of the theology of time tapes?
I have a few. I don't have the whole collection. I was in Chicago.
You don't have any of those and want them. Right.
You have that?
I got 6 or 8 of them. I didn't get many. I couldn't get many of them because they promised to send them to me. I didn't have a tape recorder to record all of it. And they promised to send them to me, which they were supposed to send all the ministers all of his tape that was taken. But I didn't get them. I don't know why the others have it, but they didn't send it to me. I don't know why. But that's all right. When I listen to the tape, I know if it's his tape or not. I know his word. If you tell me something the other day, he said, you can mix it up if you want it. And I take out the word that you said, and I know, because I know the word he said. I can do that. That's right. So, let us call these fellas together. Men around in Detroit and other places up there in Michigan. We got a lot of little towns around there. Some calling themselves Master Farad Muhammad Jr. Some saying that he is Master Farad. Some calling themselves Joshua, that he's going to take over from Moses and carry the people on over. Yeah. Some ask me to come into the temple there and they do the teaching and I sit down. I say, what fool is that? We don't work hard here to get a little place to worship Allah here, and now I'm going to sit down and let him come in here and take over and he going to teach falsehood? No, he come in there and he learn the truth. That's right. Because I am not going to change it and say that I'm some Joshua or somebody. No. I am the supreme minister of the nation of Islam, and I knows it. That's right. People have asked me, why are you supreme minister? They'll ask me that question. I'll answer it right here with you. This is what makes me supreme.
Yes, sir.
Any man that got more knowledge than the other one about a thing, he's supreme, right?
Yes, sir.
But that's what makes me supreme. That's why I put it on here. That makes me supreme. Supreme minister of the nation of Islam. I know the beginning. And I might know the ending. Yes, sir.
So, I was just wondering, is Brother Kareem Allah still in Detroit, Michigan?
Kareem Allah. Kareem Allah. What was he?
I really don't know. I know he was one of the pioneers that...
that was in Chicago. Stayed in Chicago. He's on the same. Last year, brother, went to jail with you guys?
yes.
But he was in Chicago.
There was also one in Detroit.
I don't go to the temple there. That's how come I wants to know why they don't unite together and teach the messenger's teaching. I don't know. But I was thinking about another Kareem. There was a Kareem Allah there, but that's been years ago, brother.
I used to collect scrap iron with the Savior and the messenger, so I understand.
Yeah. That's been years ago.
I hear he was still in Detroit and still collecting scrap iron. I just want to know if that was actually true. If you had any knowledge of that.
Kareem, he's a tall fella?
Sir?
Is he a tall fella?
Yes, sir. Tall and slim.
He's heavy now.
Yes, sir.
I think I know now who you're talking about. Kareem Allah. Kareem Allah. Kareem Allah. Kareem Allah. He's there. He's an old fellow.
Yes, sir.
He's an old fellow now, and he can't hear very good.
This is what I understand.
That's the one you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he there. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, he there.
So the brother's doing okay, though, huh?
Well, sometimes he feels pretty good and sometimes it don't. My brother Johnny sees him a lot more than what I do. I haven't seen him in a good while, but my brother Johnny sees him, and I ask him how he doing and everything. He was a follower. He was a minister in the minister class during the time of the messenger. He came in. He seen Master Farad. If it's the same Kareem Allah, he seen. We had a couple of Kareem Allah. Yeah, there was about 3 or 4 Kareems Allah. Yeah. But I know this one that you're talking about. Yes, sir. He's a very good man too.
When the Savior was teaching, did anyone have any idea that he was someone special, or did anyone have any idea that he may have been God, or was the messenger the only one that he could come to that conclusion?
No. No one. The only thing that we had was near to him. The messenger told me that he didn't know that he was actually God not until his departure from among us. Then that's when he began to question him more about himself, and he told him who he was then. We didn't even know his name was W.F. Muhammad, not until after he left and wrote us a letter. And wrote this little I ain't got it here. What is called the English lesson number C1.
Yes, sir.
My name is W.F. Muhammad. I came to North America by myself. My uncle was brought over here by the traders 379 years ago. My uncle does not know that he's my uncle. It's a lot of it. It's about 36 paragraphs like that.
You say he sent that back after he left?
After he left. I'm the man that saw to it being printed. Yes, sir?
Where did he send that from?
Sir?
Where did he send that lesson from? From what city?
Where was he at when he said it?
Yes, sir. When he sent that lesson to Chicago, where did he send it from?
He didn't send it to Chicago.
Where did he send it to and where did he send it from?
He didn't have it on it. He didn't have it on there.
Oh, it was not on the
He didn't hear his letters like you and I hear them.
Did it come through the mail? Regular mail?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But did he have any postmark on it with any city on it?
Yeah, it had a city on it. But we can't say he was there. No.
But could you reveal to us what city that was? That it was sent from?
Mexico.
Mexico?
Mexico, state of Mexico. That's where it was. That's what you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
That's right. Walaikum salam. I can't hear you.
Was there ever a lesson number 2 to the English lesson?
A lesson number 2? No, sir. No, sir. That one says that after accomplishing this lesson, that once that's the lesson number 2, which will value $10.50 per word, that's the one you're talking about.
Yes, sir. What would that mean?
What? What was which meaning?
Once you complete English lesson C number 1, ask for number 2, which goes for that one.
I don't know. He didn't tell me what that actually meant when I asked him, being the teacher of what he was giving for the school and for the youngsters and whatnot, I didn't ask him that. I was talking with him in Chicago in the hotel there, and I asked him for the lesson number 2, lesson number C2. I asked him, and I said they have learned lesson number C1, and he looked at me and he says, no. He says, no. They haven't learned lesson number C1. So, I didn't get you. Look like I can't hear you back there.
Yes, I said everyone knows C number 1, and that automatically leads us to understand what's C.
Yeah, well, you see, they could recite it. That's not knowing it. Reciting the thing and knowing the meanings of a thing is different. So we didn't know the meaning of English lesson number C1. All right. He said, yes, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. So wait.
That's right.
The picture of Master Farad Muhammad, the picture of the Savior Master Farad Muhammad, how old is he on that picture, and who shot the picture, who took the picture?
When that picture was taken, because he didn't, I don't know, but one picture he had taken. That was taken in Detroit on Hastings Street, right in front of the temple. The studio was Thesis. That was the name of the studio. And he was 56. Yes, sir. Okay.
What color eyes did Master Farad?
Black.
Black eyes. How tall was he?
You ever seen the messenger?
I never saw him in person.
You never saw him in person?
I've heard him described as being about 5'6".
Well, he was about his size. He never weighed over 140 pounds. And he was, stand up, brother. He was about your height. You might be a half inch taller than him, than Master Farad. You might be, I say, but he was about your size, but he never weighed over 140 pounds, he said. Thank you. His eyes was black. Yeah. Let him finish, brother. That plane cut it off.
In some of the lessons, Master Farad Muhammad is referred to as prophet. And there's one lesson where he's mentioned as messenger.
And one is what?
Where he's mentioned as messenger.
As messenger?
Yes.
Not Master Farad as messenger.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. What the lesson says, I can't quote it verbatim, word for word, but what it says, in short, is when you, I don't even want to attempt to.
Say what you think it is. Maybe that'll help me, son.
I don't like doing that. I like to be right exactly about these instructions. I didn't think to bring the lesson with me, but I knew I wanted to ask you about it. Just slipped my brain. But I wanted to ask you about that. What was he ever referred to as messenger, as he was referred to as prophet before he departed?
before Master Farad departed? No.
You never heard anyone refer to him as that?
No. I never heard him refer to him as being the messenger. No.
But he was referred to as Prophet W.D.
He was referred to as Prophet W.D. Farad. All of the mail that I have read that he have wrote, that the messenger wrote, during that time, he referred to him as the Prophet Farad, Prophet W.D. Farad. Never referred to him as messenger. Yes, ma'am. All right. I didn't hear the last part.
I was saying that in the Britannica, they have under Elijah Muhammad, they refer to Master Farad Muhammad as being the prophet. When they speak of the definition, when they explain Elijah Muhammad, they explain that he was a follower of
Prophet Farad. That's in the dictionary, Britannica, you say? Oh, yeah, that's the encyclopedia. Yeah, it's there. It's there. This brother here was, I think one of you was before you before. Now, which one was it? So, now after you, then we come back to you again. Okay?
So in regard to the Savior picture that the brother asked earlier, I noticed that the final call to Islam, we have noticed.
Speak it a little louder.
In the final calls to Islam, the first paper that was issued, I'm going to say the first paper, but the one we call the final call to Islam, they were August 3rd, 1934. But the Savior picture, the face was shown from the right side, and I noticed that in the other picture lately, one I had to say his side is shown from the left side, and it doesn't clear picture.
Who was on the left side?
Well, the way it was taken, you can see the right side from August 3rd, final call to Islam, 1934, and also those pictures.
Excuse me.
You see now, from the left side, it's the left side.
The final call. Can you give me?
I used to work at Muhammad Street Press, and a lot of times what happens is that the negative, depending on how somebody flipped the negative,
I guess
negative position, and somebody could have just flipped it one way.
Double exposure.
Well, it's the way you turn it, because you can shoot it from both sides, and if they turn it wrong, then they will make it look like it's one way, and if you turn it the other way, it looks like it's one the other way. So that's
double exposure. Double exposure. That's what they told me. I don't know. I don't know nothing about taking a picture. Let sister see her. Our next one.
Sister Jamila. I want to know, was Master Farad Muhammad ever married?
No. No, he was never married. Not to my knowings. He was never married. He told me he would get married someday. That was when I was getting ready to get married. He didn't want me to marry at that time. And that's where I get that part from. Because I was fixing to get married. And he says, it's no time to get married right now. He says, someday, maybe I'll get married. Well, that was it. I waited a year before I got married.
I think that should let everybody know the reality of Master Farad Muhammad, that he was a man, and not some kind of a spirit being that nobody can comprehend or relate to.
I don't get you.
Excuse me, I said I think that kind of clears up some questions some people might have had in their minds concerning Master Farad Muhammad, that he was a flesh and blood man.
Oh.
The fact that he would consider getting married should be ample proof to anyone thinking that he was some kind of being other than a regular person. I had another question about him, and that is, did he ever make mention that he was related to Prophet Muhammad's family by blood? And also, did you ever hear him mention his father's name?
His father's name?
Yes, sir.
No, sir. Yeah, you heard it, didn't you? You heard what somebody say that, what his name was, Alphonse and something else. Yeah, no, I never heard him give what his father's name was. He might have told the messenger, but I never heard it. And his mother's name, he told me his mother's name. Mother's name was Baby G. Baby G. But let sister ask. I want the sister to ask something anyway. Yes, ma'am.
What was his sister's name?
His sister? I don't forgot, sister. If I ever know, I don't forgot it. What his sister name? But his mother was named Baby G. She was a Caucasian woman.
Was she German?
Sure?
Was she a German woman?
No, sir. She was not German. She was a straight Caucasian woman, one that was made by Yaqub, and she didn't know that she was really a Caucasian, because the people that where his father went and got her in the hills, those people, they think they was black. Thought they was black people just like you. She didn't never think that she was a white woman, a Caucasian woman. But she was a devil, he said. He used to tell us how he'd make her work when he go home. And she had put the nice white tablecloth on the table, and when he drank coffee, he'd waste the coffee on the tablecloth just to make her wash the tablecloth, because he was a devil. But his father was a real black man. Yes, sir?
This is a question concerning one of our lessons.
Yeah.
The lesson Muhammad stated that the Indians were brought here or banished to this part of the earth about 16,000. Him as a red man. Now we know that Yaqub perhaps the devil was not raised until about 6,000 years prior to this time. Would that make the Indians being here 10,000 years before Yaqub perhaps the devil was made? So at one point in time, there the reference of the Indians be called red, at one point in time, that we brought to this relation.
It could be all just about, he said all of those colors just about exist before Yaqub even made them.
Prior to 50,000, I mean after 50,000 years.
Before too. Yeah. Because, see here where we go at. We go to the germ. In the black man exists two germs, a black one and a brown one. Now, look among your people, you find some red-looking people now. And they are not having the Caucasians for that. Not the Caucasian doing it, but it's in the person. Two real black people can get married and have 2 or 3 children. One of them going to be lighter than the other. And it might be red in there. And so the red Indian, they could have been a nation. As he said, all colors come through grafting. It's right in this little pamphlet here, what you're asking. All colors come through Grafton. So the Red Indian, they are considered as original people. Yes, sir. But they was exiled over here because they want to become Buddha. They wanted to be Buddha people, and we exiled them out from India. Because India today is full of Buddhas. You see? Yeah. Yes, sir.
What I want to ask, during the time the Savior was teaching the message for approximately 3.5 years, what did the Savior show to him or prove to him that he was the supreme being?
He told him.
But did he
He told him. He asked him.
Just from words? I mean, just by word.
What in his teaching for the 3.5 years to show it. Now, before, he told the whole country that he was the supreme being. It came out in the Detroit Free Press when he was in jail. And the devil asked him, where is your authorities? And he opened the Holy Quran and showed it to him and told him that I am the supreme being. Yes, sir.
There's one tape I have, Messenger, and he was saying while the Savior was staying with him that he never saw the Savior sleep during the time when he stayed, and at one time he tried to tip up on the Savior to catch him sleeping. And he went to the bed door and looked through the keyhole, and the Savior was looking back at him.
Was that the messenger saying that?
That's a tape I have of the messenger. Yes.
Well, it could have been. It could have been. Some other people told the same
I was
thing.
just going to say that if you had a man to stay with you that length of time and you never saw him sleep, he would have to be somebody. Because I don't think you can stay with a person that long and never see him sleep.
Well, the messenger told me that he didn't sleep.
He did?
Didn't.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He said he never saw him sleep.
I never seen him sleep either. And brother, when I was working with the Nation of Islam under the messenger, now we had our teachers meeting every Monday night. Every Wednesday night was temple meeting. Every Friday night was temple meeting. Every Monday night was FOI. Every Thursday night was MGT. And we had school Mondays, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now, I never seen him sleep. I called myself going to catch him too. Yeah, I called myself was going to catch him too sleep. Had been to sleep, brother. But in the hotel in Chicago on Michigan Avenue, he wanted a razor to shave with. And I had a little old cheapest razor. I didn't have much to shave with no way. Didn't have much to cut off, just to rub all the need, put some soap up there and wash my face. So he wanted a razor. Now the assistant captain, Lonnie Barchar, had a razor. And he said for me to bring him a razor. I carried a mine. He said, no, this ain't gonna do, John. He says, ask some of the rest of them if they got a razor. So I went back and I asked the messenger and Lonnie. And Lonnie said, yes, I got one. So I said, well, he want a razor to shave it. So he gave it to me and I carried it back to his room. And I went in. And I seen him from his waist up. He had a towel around his bust. Down. I saw that part of him naked. And I looked at his bed. Bed will tell on you a lot of times. You don't watch it. If you've been in there all night. You hadn't been in that one. No. That was just like it was the day I saw it when he went in the room. Yes, sir. He didn't sleep. Yes. Let him finish. Yes, sir.
What kind of tone of voice did the Savior have? Was it a deep voice? Regular?
At times you couldn't hardly tell. Sometimes the way that he would talk, his voice would go and come. You heard the messenger speak?
Yes, sir.
You heard him when that he seemed like that he be talking and he seemed as though that he's trying to fix his words plain for you to understand what he's saying?
Yes, sir.
That was Allah talking, not him. When he be studying, trying to fix that word to come out of his mouth so you will understand it, and then when he bring it out, it was kind of foreign-like, wasn't it? That was Allah talking through him. If you had seen Allah and heard him talk, you'd tell it every time that he was talking through him. Ask me all you want to ask me, because it might be a few days before I be back. Yes, sir.
Yes, I have another question.
Yes, sir.
Brother Milton, could the messenger tune in?
Yes, sir. I know that's what you was coming to when you said it. And did that, I know that. You want to know that he ain't. Well, I told you, just while I said that the messenger said that you talked to him anytime you got ready.
Right, yes, sir.
Yeah. That's right. He could.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I understand that the Savior was in prison just before he departed, and the government officials kept questioning the messenger about the Savior's whereabouts. Is that true?
Well, they do that every time. They would always question you. They even asked me when I was arrested, and asked me about the messenger, and they thought I was the messenger when I was younger. Me and the messenger and my sister Hattie looked just alike. It was three of us just alike. And I thought Hattie was my mother. In a way of speaking, I knowed my mother, but she took care of me so much until she told my mother before she passed that she didn't never take me for her brother. She always taken me to be her son. And me, her, and the messenger, just alike. I had walked in the temple, and the people would stand up, start cheering for me. And when they saw me turn to go in my secretary's office, they said, "Oh, that's Brother John." Yeah. Yeah, he was just alike along there.
What kind of diet did the Savior have? At 6, from what I understand, he did everything that a brother in the first division would do. How was his diet as far as eating one meal a day or one meal every other day?
Sometimes he'd eat every day for a while, and he would fast for 6 or 7 days. Many times he'd fast for 3 days, and he could eat, brother. He could eat. Not a man in here could tackle him on eating. Not a man in here. I used to be an eater. I could eat in my young days. It was nothing for me to sit down and eat 10 or 12 of those big rolls with my food that I ate. Yes, sir. And my mother made big ones. Them old big, brother. And just when we just started eating them, I thought no bread in the world tastes better than that. And it was made from white flour until we got to brown flour.
Was the Savior pretty
Was he pretty or ugly? He was a very good-looking man. Yeah. Him. He was pretty. I thought he wanted to say something, brother, but he was calling this brother. Yes, sir.
Tell us about the messenger when he was a kid. What type of kid, young soldier was he? Tell us about him in his younger years, even while he was in Georgia, I guess.
Ain't too much I can tell because he's older than me.
How old was you when he was born? When you was born, how old was the messenger?
When I was born, how old was the messenger? Messenger got me a good piece. I can't talk about his past in Georgia. Only thing that I can talk about his past in Georgia was when he was courting Sister Clara, because I liked Sister Clara's sister going to school. And I would follow him up to the house when he go up there to see her because I was crazy about the messenger. And he would take me place when I was a little small boy, like the little baby was sitting there just a while ago. He would take me places with him. See, I was chubby and fat. And all of them say I looked like a girl. And I had big red rosy cheeks. And he would carry me about with him. All of them would carry me around with him. So that, his life, I can hardly say in Georgia. But I know his life in Detroit, but I ain't gonna tell you. I'll come fair with you. I'm not going to talk about his past life before he was coming to the Nation of Islam. I won't talk that with nobody, because that doesn't concern anybody.
Right.
In regard to the lesson, notice in the English number C1, as well as Lifetime Muslim lesson number 1, and Lifetime Muslim lesson number 2, that the messenger answered the question that it said that asked us. Also in the problem book, we noticed that there was no answer into the problem book, which is a two-part question. So maybe you could help us out in regard to why there wasn't any answer into the problem book. Also in the problem book, notice that it stated that it was two uncles. And then also in English in C1, but the Savior taught us that he was our uncle. And maybe you could help us out in regards to this, because in the problem book it stated it was two uncles. The first uncle and the second uncle. Maybe help us with that.
The first uncle and the second uncle and the problems. The first uncle, I think, it reads the first problem says, the uncle, Mr. W.D. Farad, live in the wilderness of North America, live other than himself, and so on. That's his number one. His pulse beat so much and it killed him at the age of 44. I think that's number one. Now, it's another one says that the uncle of Mr. W.D. Farad live in the wilderness of North America and live other than himself. And this killed him at the age of 46. 2 years older than the first one. Now, brother, you're going into something that if I start with you, it'll be sunrise. Steady there. I asked Master Farad a question about him, and I'll tell you his answer. He said, if you learn them, John, you'll be a scientist. That's what he told me. And he told me, One of the ways to study, and that was to read them over and over, then they will come easy. See, you can solve them, any mathematician can solve them by figures. That ain't what you want to know. You want to know why. Who is this first and second uncle? That's what you're asking me, right? All right. The first uncle was the first resurrection of us. The second uncle is the man that Wallace is calling the second resurrections. That's a second uncle that don't know anything about Islam, and he's got them there with him. Now the third one that he speaks about says, if air value selling price $10.50 per cubic foot, then the third uncle will be robbed of the atmospheres. Now you're talking about another uncle, which is the third uncle. And there ain't one resurrections, ain't never no two. No history says it's two. That you know of dead. Quran gives you a history of them in a manner of speaking, but there's no such thing as a resurrection from the dead. When a person died, they don't come back. That's all she wrote. And that's what the Holy Quran says too again. It says you cannot rise a man in the grave. That's Quran. The Bible says the same thing. He that goes down into the grave comes up no more. That's what the Bible tells you. Now, since we are in that state, then we are talking about the resurrections of a mental man. And that only happens one time. Sir? Yes. Yes, sir.
Speaking of resurrections, there are many people who believe that your brother,
I have to hear you.
excuse me, there are many people who believe that your brother, Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, is going to come back. Now, I would like to hear it from you if there is absolutely no doubt whatsoever in your mind that your brother, Messenger of Allah, is physically deceased and is never going to come back to us in the form that he left us in. And also, where is his body interred?
Is it possible that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad will return? My answer is no. That's why I put it in this book here. I got quite a bit of it in there. No, sir.
Did you actually see his body?
Nope. I didn't want to see him when he was dead. I didn't go to see him. I got a brother and sister saw him. His son dressed him. So if they didn't know who he was, I know what you're driving at. If they didn't know him, shame on them. If you don't know your brother, if you don't, and my other brother was sitting there looking at his son while he rapped him. This brother's in Chicago now. The Messenger's oldest brother rapped his father in the Muslim style. Put him in the tomb. Now, the reason nobody saw him because it is the custom that Muslims does not open, a man like that does not open his casket before a body of people because it'll be a stamp here among the people. They will act all kind of different ways if they had to open the body from the scene. But what I wanted them to do was to lay him in state so that everybody from all over the country could come and see the man that thought the white people was the devil. That's what I wanted done, but they didn't do that.
I had read that his body was buried in a cemetery in Chicago, and that it was later exhumed and then taken to Temple No. 2 in Chicago and placed in a room inside the temple. Can you tell us whether or not the body was ever reburied again?
Yes, it was. It was. That was not the permanent place when they carried him. They wanted to have him embalmed after the funeral was. And the Egyptian embalmers didn't never come. And they taken him, buried him in the cemetery beside his wife, Sister Clara. He's buried right beside his wife, Sister Clara. He'll never come back. You will never see him again. You'll never hear his voice anymore. He is dead just like all of the rest of the prophets, just like all of the rest of the people. You'll never see him no more.
Is it possible for a person like myself to go and visit his gravesite? Just to walk into the cemetery, place a wreath on his grave, or just to visit?
And see his spirit or something?
No, sir. To see the site where he's buried.
Oh, I get you. I don't know. According if they let you. I never wanted to go. If they let you. If you can ask the manager of the grave there, of the graveyard, that you want to see the site of number so and so and so, if they let you, sure. I'm quite sure they'll let you. Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Mr. Malcolm Shabazz, or known as Malcolm X, is he to blame for his own death?
He killed his own fool self. That's the way I announce it. He killed his own self by doing this, trying to kill the fruit that the messenger had. He had his people to buy rifles, and those rifles was to fight the FOI in Chicago. And before he could do anything, so his own people murdered him. That's what I learned. Otherwise, I don't know. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Could you tell us a little something about Brother Kalat? Your brother Kalat.
My brother Kalat?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. He was a captain at number 1 Michigan, and he was a tough captain. He was a tough captain. When he said do a thing, do it, or else you wouldn't be in the fruit for a certain length of time. As you always heard, he give time in the temple for disobeying orders. Yes, that was my brother, Kalat Muhammad. And some say different things about him being against the messenger. But I was around him for a lot of times. He visited me before he passed many a times. And a lot of the things that I had heard, I asked him about it. And a lot of the things he denied, he didn't do. And when the messenger was put in prison, he almost had a fit. He says, what them devils doing, locking up my brother, the messenger. He was angry about it. So it's when you got an enemy and you got a brother, and you and your brother running a firm or running a nation of people, The enemy will tell you things that your brother did not do. He was a good man, Kalat was. And the messenger liked him. The last time the messenger and I was together and saw Kalat was the time my father passed. And Kalat walked up to him and took off his hat and bowed to the messenger, and the messenger was surprised. And he told me afterward, the messenger was hoarse. He had a very bad cold, and he tried to tell him what to do for his cold. And when we got in the house, and I was fixing to leave the next day, taking the train back to Detroit, the messenger told me, he says, I was surprised. He said, I was listening for one word from him and saying, that'd have been it. He said, I was listening for him to say, could he come back to the temple? But Kalat didn't say it. And if he had said that, back he would have been with his brother until he died. People can carry a whole lot of things away, brother, but I am an eyewitness of plenty. Yes, sir. You're welcome, sir. Ask me about somebody else. Plenty of them asked about. Don't be afraid. I'll answer it if I know it.
That was something related to a question brother asked just a while ago. I was reading, it was either before a miracle or it was Savior has arrived. When Elijah Muhammad stated that we were not to pray in the name of dead prophets and messengers. Have you read it? Our Savior has arrived or follow through?
Don't pray.
Our prayers will be answered through him.
Right. I get you now. Yeah, right. Yeah, he told my sister that. My sister asked him in my house before he ever wrote one of those books. Oh, I guess it was about 12 or 14 years before he ever wrote a book in my house. She asked him, says, brother, when I pray, how must I pray? Whose name shall I pray in? She had just come into the temple. She was the last one to come in the temple. So he said to her, he says, pray in my name. He says, just like you prayed in Jesus' name, you pray in mine. And I do the same thing till this day. Not long ago, before y'all came, I went upstairs and I prayed, and I prayed in his name. That's right. I've been about as more, I guess, successful by praying in his name than I would if I had prayed in somebody else's name. I'm more successful if the Jesus, he never did do nothing for me. I prayed for the jobs and whatnot till tears run out of my eyes. Didn't do nothing for me. No. But at the coming of Allah, he told us, he says, I heard all of your prayers. My grandmother asked him, told him, standing at the old pot-gutted coal stove there in the dining room, she says, I heard that when the next man, she was a slave, she said, I heard that when the next man come, that they couldn't do nothing with that man. And says, is you that man? He says, yes. My grandmother had a hand on his, and he was warming his hand over the stove. He says, yes, I am the man. He said, I heard all of your prayers.
And also, he mentioned on the same day of the time in 1972 that he was learning to speak Arabic. I mean, when did the Arabic to your knowledge speak?
I can't get to the last part.
When did the messenger to your knowledge learn to speak the Arabic language? Because he was mentioning about he mentioned about how the Revelation said about the little lamb and the little book, and the little book was big enough to take care of all the big books. He mentioned that on Theology of Science. And he said that Allah had prepared a book for him, and that he would prepare another one that he already had prepared. This was in 1972. But I don't know, when did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad actually begin to speak Arabic? That's the Arabic language.
Speak the Arabic language? He never learned. He never learned. He sent his two sons to the east to learn the Arabic language. And then when they come back, he asked them to teach him, and they didn't teach him. Akbar and Wallace. That's a shame, ain't it? He paid for it, go learn. Then when they come back, he well, I ain't gonna give it to you. All praises due Allah. Yes, sir?
Where is Akbar nowadays?
I don't know. I don't keep up with him either. Yes, sir?
Brother Minister Bernard Cushman, was he a good minister? Was he loyal and faithful to the messenger? And, or was he a rebellious man? As some had heard say. Thank you.
I don't know how much rebellious he was with the messenger, but the messenger put him out of the temple and he never came back, not until Farrakhan became is what he's got. He said he hated him. That's what the messenger said. He said, I don't like that man. He wrote a book called This Is the One, right? He told lies in that book. I got one. And the messenger didn't like him, and he put him out and let him live in the house in Phoenix across the street from the one that he had built. And Cushman lived over there. I went over there a few times to see him, see the messenger while he was in Phoenix. No, not while he was in Phoenix. After he had came back, I went over there. He sent me over there a couple of times to Phoenix. And I tried to see Cushman. I had wanted to get the house that he was in. I was going to ask the messenger to let me buy the house that Cushman was in for my wife and my children, so we wouldn't be in the cold weather so much, And but he passed before I could get a chance to get it. Cushman lived in there, was paying $50 a month. That's how good he was to Cushman. And the big vacant lot there beside it, which that he had bought too. Cushman was a hypocrite. Yes, sir.
Do you know Brother Paul? I think he was the yard man out in Phoenix.
Out in Phoenix? Paul Crawford?
Yes, sir. He had also mentioned that the messenger used to wait in his office till Cushman would leave before he would even come out.
He probably did.
Shown me several years back. There's something that Farrakhan had written in something called the Study Kit, when he was telling his fathers on the West Coast that Cushman had been offered half of the country by the messenger.
Say that louder.
There was a letter which Farrakhan was putting out to his study group people saying that Cushman had been offered half of the country by the Honorable Muhammad, but he had turned it down. But Farrakhan said he was given the same offer to Cushman, and of course Cushman accepted under him. Then he stated that if Cushman sent anyone down in the nation, Farrakhan said he himself by no means put them back into whatever position they had. He told the people on the West Coast to go along whatever Cushman was doing. This was a little before they removed the Brotherhood and had the temple out there. Malik Rashidin, somebody else had it, because they brought him to Farrakhan's headquarters in Chicago, and he gave him another name. I can't think of the other name. But back then he was Malik Rashidin. Khalid Muhammad, okay. And that letter seemed like it came down before they removed it. So it might have been a setup to do the whole situation. Under Christmas,
No. Well, I don't know much about what the Farrakhan and Kushmir was cooking up themselves together about the messenger. All I can say is, how was the messenger going to offer Kushmir half of the country? How would he do that? And he was the messenger to the whole country. And he going to offer him half of it. Anybody can see through that. It's too thin. So, no, he never did that. He told me that someday I would get all of the Muslims. He didn't say how or what. He was real sick. I was going to Bermuda, and I asked him, could I go? Because I never went a place unless I let him know it. And I was in the hospital. He was in the hospital then, and I could barely hear him whisper. I took my ear right down to his mouth. And he told me I could go. He says, go and give them all the greetings from me. He says, and brother, keep the good work up. Someday you will have them all. And I never did figure that I would ever undertake with the Nation of Islam like I'm going now. I never figured that, regardless of what he said to me. But I had made promise to Allah. Did you want to ask something, brother? I had made promise to Allah, and Allah had told me in a vision that I had when I was going among people, and they was all enemies, and he told me, he says, I saw myself in him. A light was shining down on just me and him, and I was going down in a manhole, and I had got this far down in the manhole. You know, they have a ladder on the manhole for a man to walk in. And I was on the ladder, and he told me, Master Farad was standing up here, and he says, go ahead, John. I am with you. I said, but it's dark down here. He said, you go ahead. I am with you. And then the vision vanished. Now, after that, I told my mother, I guess about a couple of days afterwards, because it stayed with me. I told my mother, and before she passed, she says to me, do you remember what our Savior said to you? I said, sure. He said, she says, I seen you when you came out of that dark hole. And I came out of it. Enemies can't bother me. I come here by myself. I came to North America by myself. Yes, you want to say something?
Assalamu alaikum. Do you have any communication with Wallace?
With Wallace? Yeah, I talk with him. I talks with him. He was at my house here a couple of weeks or so ago. Him and some of the people. When you spoke in Detroit, he came by there and see me. Something on him concerning me.
Well, does he seem like do you speak about the organization?
He can, yes, he don't speak about it, but I get it from what he do say. He wants me for something I don't know, but he has got to unite.
Turn around.
Right.
Yeah.
He got to, and then again, I wouldn't follow him on that. Even if he unite, I wouldn't follow him. Only way that I would follow Wallace, and he be the leader, is that he submit himself entirely to Allah before my face, of what he has said against his father.
I agree with that.
So then I said, okay, son, you're all right now. Yeah.
Do you have any idea what made him do that? Because, he had we used to have a lot of admiration and respect for him. We felt that
He did.
Never happened to him. Actually, he was a logical one to carry on. But it seems he made such a fast turnaround. Do you have any input as to what do you think made him make such a
Made him do against his father like he did?
to say that
He didn't like his father. Didn't like his father. A lot of people saw that. And he would speak out against his father. He said his father had the biggest voodoo bag in any man.
Biggest what?
Voodoo bag. A voodoo, you know what a voodoo, say his father had the biggest voodoo bag than any man in North America. He called his father, he called him a trickster. Yeah. And I heard other ministers get up and teaching the people, and they said, there stand a donkey over there, and you got a hat in your hand, and you say, come here, donkey, and the donkey come up there, but you ain't got nothing in the hat. So that's the way Elijah was. Now, do you get the meanings of that? That means that he called all of the black people around, making the black people think he got something, and he ain't got nothing. He tricked the black people like you tricked the donkey. That's the meaning of what that minister was trying to say. And after he said that, I visit one more time to the temple. Of course, I was never with him. I was sitting in there, but I wasn't with him. I went to minister class where Wallace was at. I wasn't with him. Just like people who come and visit you and they are not with you. I did that to him, to find out how far was he really going to take this concerning his father. Sure. And I remained away from him before I even said anything. One of these newsletters, that one of them will tell you, when I wrote that newsletter in 1978, that was my first newsletter I started out. And I stayed away for 3 years from the time of the messenger, from following Wallace, though I visited about 4 or 5 times, I guess, after the messenger passed. But I wasn't with him. I know what my brother had told me about Wallace. And I wanted to see, is he going to walk the same line that my brother had told me? And he did it. He did it just like if he had thrown a ball and the umpire said, strike. He did it. Yes, sir. I couldn't follow these others. They pull off they throws a ball and the umpire says it's a strike. But they throwing the ball. You can't fool that. No. You never seen Master Farad?
No.
But you heard mention Elijah Muhammad? Now, if you tell me about Master Farad, you couldn't fool me. If you tell me about Elijah, you couldn't fool me about him. No way. He even taught me as far as how the man write a letter. I used to okay letters for names that he give name. He taught me how to know what you did while you wrote that letter. I can tell you what you was thinking about, whether you put it on the paper or didn't put it on there. Write the letter. That's right. It's going to come into your mind. And you said, no, I ain't going to write that. I'm going to write such and such a thing. Shouldn't have never let it come in your mind. Not if you're writing it to me. If you ate pork, I know it. That's why he taught me how to know the things. See, a lot of people will tell you, I'd ask a lot of them, I says, you still eating the swine? No, Brother John, ain't it no swine, not on no wind. I said, just the last time you wrote this letter, right? And they look at me just dumbfounded. But at that time, I didn't tell them nothing. That's how I know. I wouldn't do it. No. It's easy to know it. One brother, he's lived in Dawson, Georgia. He didn't ever get his name direct from Master Farad. I okayed his letter to Master Farad, but he didn't ever get his name. And he wrote his letter, and I told him, I said, listen, I said, every time that I open your letter, I smell that pipe you had. He'd tell you that if he was here right now, he would tell you without me telling you. So he said, yeah. I said, yeah. I said, you've been promised me that you're going to stop smoking the pipe. He said, well, I'm going to quit, Brother John. He said, look like it's the hardest thing that I have ever seen to stop smoking. So I said, okay. But I okayed his letter because he was such a good man in Islam. Although he did smoke the pipe. And it's not good for people who smoke. You know smoking ain't good for you. So he was such a good man, and he still is, but he has quit smoking. And he calls me a few times, and I was supposed to go there from here, but I got to go back home. My time won't allow me, and the ticket that I have is for that time. I can't go over that ticket. So he told me about a brother here that watermelons. He has a little farm here in Dawson, Georgia, and he's going to furnish me with stuff in Detroit. It's for my temple there. And all I can say about him, he's just a good man. That's all I can say. Ever since that he come in the nation of Islam, he was a good man, but it was a good while before he laid the pipe down. He wasn't eating the swine. I didn't ever get the swine on him, but the pipe. Well, anybody that reads and don't smoke, you can smell the smoke when you open the letter. If he was smoking when he wrote the letter. And if he wasn't smoking when he wrote it, if he just threw the smoking things down or let them alone, and then go back writing a letter, that smell is in that paper, because that paper will keep it while he's sitting there smoking, blowing it. Then he takes and seal it up. When he seal it up, you leave that breath in there. And then when you open it, it comes out in your face. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of them don't even pay attention. Now, I can smell a man smoking a long way off. Don't have to eat. Yeah. Well, I gotta ask Dr. Shabazz, is he gone?
He said it to everybody.
What time did you have set? See, I got to obey him. See?
There's a few more questions.
Few more?
A few more questions.
All right. All right.
Yes, sir.
Walaikum salam.
I have just a couple of questions.
All right.
One is, how did the messenger, who invited the messenger to the temple? How did he get there? His first meeting. And my second question is, what does the name Farrakhan mean?
I started Farrakhan. I don't know all of it, but some portion of his name is Rat. I don't know all of it. Master Farad Gilmini, if I use it from this family of people, that he gave me the opportunity to name after his daughter was a teacher for me in the university. She was the first one that got a name because she was a teacher. Master Farad gave her the name Farrakhan. The name was Geraldine Farrakhan. And so I had a stack of letters ready for names when I came to Chicago to present them to Allah, to okay for names for him to give them. I had okay for him to write him. Now he was to okay it himself after I give them to him. So them that he didn't see fit to give a name, he didn't do it. So I asked him, I says, well, he know Geraldine, because Geraldine had talked with him. She was there when he gave her the name in Detroit. So I asked him, I says, you remember Geraldine? He says, yeah. I said, Geraldine Farrakhan. He says, yes. I said, well, this letter is her father. I says, can I name him, give him, since he's the head of the family, can I let him be named Farrakhan? He said, yeah. He said, that'll be all right. So I named him Farrakhan right there with Allah, and by his permission, you know. So he was pretty much a rat. Yep, he was pretty much a rat. And later, his wife was pretty much a rat too. Yeah. All of them were named Farrakhan because of their daughter, Geraldine. When I went to pick up Geraldine for teachers' meeting after I become the principal, and her mother told me, says, no, she can't go to teachers' meeting with you. I says, why? I says, I haven't did anything yet to anybody. He says, if I had a shotgun, I'd shoot you. I said, what you want to shoot me for? You ain't no good. Well, she didn't know what she was saying. She didn't know a thing in the world. So it dragged in my head. What did Sister Farrakhan find wrong with me? So he was sitting there, and I asked him. One mind said, get the whole thing from him. So I said, Brother Farrakhan, can Geraldine go to teachers meeting tonight? I says, we'll bring her back safe like we always did do. He said, well, no, said, I have come to the conclusion for her not to go no more. And lays out. All is dead but Geraldine. Now, the family. Rat.
Where's Geraldine?
Say?
Where's Geraldine?
In Detroit.
She with you?
No, sir. No, she's not with me. I haven't seen her for a long time. My brother saw her because that she has a restaurant, and he went there and got him a cup of coffee, not knowing who owned the restaurant, and she was the one that waited on me and said that that was her restaurant. Yes, sir.
Do you know whatever happened to Margaret Hussein?
Wait a minute. I didn't finish that other question, did I?
No, sir.
What was the other one?
How did the messenger get to the temple when he first went?
Oh, how did he know about Islam? My father. My father was the first member and was the first one to hear about Islam. He met Abdul Muhammad, the representative of Master Farad Muhammad, in the alley. And when he met him, and Abdul answered all of his questions right there in the alley, working. My father was working. He had stopped preaching, and he was working for the city, cleaning up the rubbish in the alleys. And that's where Abdul stopped and talked to him, Abdul Muhammad. And he did. My father asked him where was the place at. So he would like to hear that man. And he told him. So my brother Johnny, he set out to find out the address where it was at while my father was working. And when he found it, they went to this place in a house, and there he come back and told my father that he found the address. And then my brother Elijah Muhammad and my brother Wali Muhammad and Johnny, my father, they went to hear Master Farad. And that's the way he would come into the Temple of Islam by my father, because they would sit on every Saturday and they would talk about what they had learned by meeting Master Farad and Abdul Muhammad. So when he went, the second time my father joined when he went, and Master Farad gave him his name as Willie Muhammad. His name was William Poole. He gave him the name as Willie Muhammad. Second time that he went, I believe it was the second time. Anyway, it was between the first and the second time. He gave him his name. He wrote it out on a card, told him his name, Willie Muhammad, told him his name. Muhammad means praise one. So instead of letting him keep it Willie Muhammad or William Muhammad, he gave him Willie Muhammad. Cut it off. He didn't never tell him what Willie means, but I guess he understood, and knowing by him being God, that he didn't need William. So that's the way he gave it to him. And then after that, we all went hearing this man. My mother then was the last in the family at that time living in the house together. They was afraid to tell her because my mother had joined a sanctified church. And they thought my mother was going to raise a whole lot of sand if they tell her that we have joined and this man said there's no God up there. It was very funny. You would laugh about it if you had been there. It was very funny. And my mother didn't say nothing. And they were upset again. They said, well, we just thought Mama was going to kick up a dust. Mama didn't say nothing. Said, well, I'd like to hear it. And then we all become. When she went there, she didn't go back to the sanctified church no more. She went there and sit there. She heard Master Farad tell me that he was the man. My mother heard it, and she would whip me with it plenty of times. She said, you know what he told you? I said, yes. She said, well, bear in mind it, son. He told me when we were shaking hands, my mother was ahead of me because she went to the temple with me that night. Now, I don't think any of the rest of the brothers was there. But, well, from the house, the messenger and my brother Wally probably was there. I don't remember because they lived in Hamtramck. And they would walk from Hamtramck down to the temple. And when I shook hands with him standing there, he told me, he says, keep on reading, brother. I am the man. That's the way he told me. Because I was trying to find him out, but I didn't tell him, I didn't tell nobody. I was reading scriptures, and he told me to keep on reading, I am the man. Well, he have told me things, but, well, some of the things seemed like miracles, but he wasn't working in miracles. He healed me one time by hitting me in my back. I was pretty sick that day on the picnic. And I was standing right beside him, and it was something happened, and it was pretty funny between the rest of them dancing on the floor. And it was pretty funny, and this brother couldn't dance, but was dancing with the sister. And he hit me on the back, and me and him both laughed. That was the end of that pain that I was having in my back. I ain't had it since. Yes, sir.
Do you know whatever happened to Margaret Hussein, who used to be the messenger's secretary and used to write in the paper sometimes?
Sister Margaret Hassan. She spelled it Hassan or A-N? How did she spell that? A-N? It's a Hussein and it's a Hassan. So she wrote some beautiful writing, brother. I got some of them.
I don't think she ever followed Wallace either. I'm not sure. Because I know I used to be the messenger at Muhammad Speaks. I was in charge of, I was the job production control supervisor.
Yes.
And I used to communicate with her over the phone quite a bit. And I was the only one that was allowed to go over to the house. And in my conversations with her after Wallace came in, because I never followed Wallace, she would speak sometimes very freely with me about how she didn't like the way she didn't like what was going on.
Right. Well, a lot of them there with him today don't like it, but they're afraid to say so, and they're afraid to leave. Some of them thinks that the messenger chose him. He wanted him. I'll tell you the facts. That was the man that Messenger Elijah Muhammad wanted to carry out the nation of Islam. He wanted him, but he couldn't choose him. He told me that. And it's in this little pamphlet right there. When he met the press, he said, I can't do it. If you read it. He couldn't choose a successor. And Farrakhan wasn't even born.
Sir.
Farrakhan wasn't even born at that time. He was not a successor. And none of these men were successor after the messenger saying that he chose them. None of them.
On the same note, Brother Nelson, in the article on the interview, three-part interview, was something also mentioned about the fact, as the messenger stated, that the nation would take on a constitution form of government. I remember reading that in one of the three-part interviews when I was asking him.
It was already a government. When I know what you're talking about. I read that too. It was already government because he have always said, many a time, whether you heard it or not, he always said that I'm not just teaching you religion, I'm teaching you also a government.
Like it was supposed to be a continuation of all that the message taught us without any change. That's basically what's supposed to be.
That last word, you dropped it.
A continuation of what we have been taught all the time without any change. That's basically what we were supposed to be doing.
Right. Don't change nothing that he give you. Don't change nothing. Carry it just like he got it. And then you will be more successful, but it'll be very slow because there's so many against it. When you get out of that slowness, you're going by leaps and bounds. You'll be stepping over everything. Everybody will be with you. Yes, sir. But you got to unite. That's it. Dr. Shabazz, I am happy and glad that you give me this beautiful opportunity here, and the Imam here, and I'm happy and glad, and it's a pleasure for me to be with my brothers and sisters, because I love you. I love you just like if you was my blood brother born by my mother. That's just how I love you. And I pray, Allah, that we never stay away from each other again. Whether we are united together or not, just let's see each other more often. What you want to know, what you have, I have it. I'm the last one, brothers, sisters, that will teach the teaching of Messenger Elijah Muhammad like he left it and knows it. And when you begin to see me and hear me, you find me. I'm not coming to brag on myself. I'm not coming to tell you where to read at. You find it yourself. And when you find it, you gonna tell others. I won't tell it. I'm not calling myself a leader. If you believe like I believe, let's get together.
Assalamu alaikum. We're going to have prayer. I want to make announcements. Brother Minister is also be a guest tomorrow afternoon in the New World Nation of Islam in South Carolina. And if anybody's interested in going, they can mention it here or drop their name or discuss that with me. We're going to have prayer first. Can we have prayer? Say the prayer first.
Wait a minute, I'm skipping.
Assalamu alaikum. Let us all bow and have the word of prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful One, who came to us in the person of Master Muhammad, to whom praise I do forever, we beseech thy help and we ask thy mercy, and we believe in thee and we trust in thee, and we worship thee in the best manner. And we are not ungrateful to thee, and we thank thee, and we cast all those who forsake thee. O Allah, thee do we pray and do we seek thy obedience. We flee to thee and we quake and we hope thy mercy. We fear thy chastisement, for surely thy chastisement will overtake the unbelievers. Assalamu alaikum. We're now dismissed.
Salam.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent and Merciful, the Lord of all the worlds, who came to North America in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, the only God that I know, the only God that Messenger Elijah Muhammad said to me that he knew. I thank Allah for his coming in his person. I thank him for the resurrections of Messenger Elijah Muhammad, the last of the messengers to we the so-called American Negroes who has been a slave in America for near 400 years at the coming of Master Farad Muhammad. I thank Minister Louis Farrakhan for such wonderful and beautiful work that he has done in the rebuilding of the Nation of Islam. I thank Minister Farrakhan and his staff for such great opportunity for me to be present with you today. I thank each of you for being here and those that could not be here today. Brother and sister of the Nation of Islam, you who has been in the Nation of Islam and you who has not been in the Nation of Islam, you who sympathize with the Nation of Islam, and you who do not want the Nation of Islam, I thank Allah for you. That is, if you are black. Because this teaching that Master Farad Muhammad, who Allah came in his person, and the resurrections of his messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it did not come to but one people, and that is to the lost man, the man that had no knowledge of self nor anyone else. That's why I say black. I don't believe there is not a people on the earth of his nation does not want to give honor to his nation. I believe in honoring my nation. I believe in the teachings that Messenger Elijah Muhammad gave to us. I believe in the Holy Quran and what it says. I believe in all of the prophets that was sent from God. I can't believe in those that say they are prophets or say they are messengers and know not Allah. This day, I am so honored to be before you, and you who cannot see me but hear my voice. I would like to bring to your attention the new Islam. The new Islam that was brought to us, the so-called American Negro, the black man of today, yesterday, and tomorrow. I would like to bring to you the new Islam, not the old Islam. I don't know about your belief. I can't say anything about it. But I can talk only of my own. Before the coming of Master Farad Muhammad, I was a member in the Baptist Church. Before 1930, at his coming, I removed myself from the Baptist Church and became a follower under Master Farad Muhammad, the same as Messenger Elijah Muhammad. I believe today that if every people on the earth, regardless to what he is, color or whatnot, would take up the words that Messenger Elijah Muhammad taught us, it would be a better world for tomorrow. I cannot say that the new Islam was for all nations of people, because all nations of people I do not believe will ever come under the sun, moon, and star as one nation until after the hereafter here on earth. Not a hereafter that will come about after physical death and the resurrections in some spirit after that physical death, but a resurrections in this present life, a death that we underwent in the year of 1555. Yes, sir. Buried in the Western Hemisphere, forgotten, robbed, mistreated, beaten, and killed by an open enemy, by one that will never say that he is the brother to a black man. That's right. The new Islam, taught by the last messenger. I say the last messenger because according to the Holy Quran, Muhammad 1400 years ago was the last prophet. But the messenger taught me and others that it did not say that he was the last messenger. Yes, sir. But he is the last messenger. Yes, sir. Being raised up among the last people of the earth, a people that never before had a teacher of any kind after he had mounted the shores here in America. The last messenger had to come to this people. As the Quran says and teaches us, every nation had a wanted to go to them. But we had no one to come to us to tell us of this kind of a condition that we was in. Not until Master Farad Muhammad, God in person, came to us and raised up right in our house, right in our midst, in the midst of people who did not know him. And after he was raised up, then people did not know him. Today they do not understand that he is the last of all the messengers. And we are the last people. You cannot talk to those people that was under the voice of Master Farad Muhammad to tell him or her concerning the Prophet Muhammad 1400 years ago. You cannot talk to them to try to make them to believe and understand that today is the day that we must look for the return of Muhammad. You can't tell us that. Muhammad has already returned. Master Farad Muhammad taught us the history of Prophet Muhammad forward and backwards. He taught us the history of self, and he taught the history of others. In his 3 years and 6 months here in America, teaching his servant, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I wish that you could sit long enough. I wish that the people here in Chicago would give all day on the air so that you could get a belly full of what Master Farad Muhammad brought.
Go ahead, brother.
So that you could understand that Messenger Elijah Muhammad is the oldest man that has taught black man in America of self.
That's right.
According to chapter 70, verse 41 of the Holy Quran, Maulana Muhammad Ali translation, section 2, a nation to be raised up. A nation to be raised, to rise up for self. A nation of people. Why you tell us a nation is to be raised up? All of the nations of the earth, they had their own. And here is a small group of people who has been lost from home and their people for 400 years. And now, back at that time, at the writing of this Quran, it tells you a nation is to be raised up. What nation? Everybody has went to their own. They live with their own. All but you and I. The black man of America. Never did we understand neither book, Quran nor Bible. Not until Master Farad Muhammad taught Messenger Elijah Muhammad. And after he taught him, after Master Farad Muhammad taught Elijah Muhammad the truth, none other than the truth, then here come out every Tom, Dick, and Harry with the Holy Quran saying, I am the messenger of God.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Others came out trying to preach the Bible. Don't know either book, but when Master Farad Muhammad taught Messenger Elijah Muhammad both books, Bible and Quran. Then after Elijah Muhammad began to teach it to you and I, they wanted to kill him. Hated him. Oh yes, they did. They hated him. I hope you are listening out there. They hated that man in the city of Detroit when we only had one temple. Just one. Run the man away from the city. Put him in jail there. Put him in jail here. Put him in jail elsewhere. Did the same thing for the God of the universe that came to us, Master Farad Muhammad. Put him in jail. He had to suffer that in order to get to you, in order to get to black men of America, to teach you that this whole planet Earth belongs to you. All praises is due Allah. A new nation is to be raised up. And they are to be brought into the place of others. And they are to be a better people. Listen at them. And they are to be a better people. Who is the worst people? They're going to be the better people, living in a place that is known as the wilderness. A place where that nothing dwell but wild animals. Wilderness. A place where uncivilized people dwell. In the wilderness of North America. That people is to be raised up is none other than the black man of America. Yes, sir. We know and we understand. We hear and we see that none other people is greater than the so-called American Negro, the black man. People don't want to hear you say that. People don't even want to hear you say you are the original man. They want to call you something else.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, brother.
What is better than the original man? Just because it has a long answer to it. It has a long question. Nobody can answer it. Nobody can write it. Nobody knows who the original man is but the original man. Nobody else have his knowledge. Nobody knows what he created but him. Nobody can create anything but the original man. And you have it proof right here in America. Look at all of the things that has been made here in America. Go back and count how many black peoples. That was the cause of this operation to be finished and brought about, that it would serve the nation. Count how many black men did it. No wonder that some of the people says, black man built America. That's right. He did.
Go ahead.
Black man of America. A new black man built America.